Welcome. We in here. Welcome to the Art Life Podcast. I am your host. I am D Muse. Of course, this is brought to you by the Pay the Artist Club. If you're looking for any help with your art marketing, branding, sales, or positioning, make sure you visit imdmuse.com and you check us out and you join the Pay the Artist Club, our online community of like-minded artists will be there to help you get to the next level in your art journey, wherever it is that you want to head to, or whatever it is that you started. We're there for you. If you're brand new, all the way up until you go into a blue chip, we can help you out. So make sure you tune in and check us out. This episode, I want to talk a little bit about pricing, right? Pricing seems to be the number one um, obstacle, area of confusion, um, place of concern for artists at multiple times in their artistic journey and in their careers. As they start to move forward, all right, I knew what my prices were then. What are they going to be now that I'm starting to move up? And how am I supposed to increase these? Is it supposed to be incrementally? Is it supposed to be a large jump? When is this supposed to happen? How large is the jump supposed to be? Um, this is probably going to be something you're going to be revisiting as an artist until you go. And then even when you go, they're going to be, your state going to be talking about how much should we be selling this for? We auction this, what should be the reserve price? What is that bottom that we definitely have to get because it is worth A, B, and C or X, Y, Z to us. So this is something that's going to commonly recur. So in different ways, shapes, forms, I'm probably going to be revisiting it, especially as I'm getting questions from artists that I'm coaching, from people that are listening to the podcast, that are asking questions, and I'm trying to address as many as I possibly can, from as many different angles as I can, so we can kind of get as many colors as we need to paint the picture, pun intended, right? A little art humor. So, um, topic of today's discussion is, what do your art prices say about you? What do your art prices say about you? Um, hmm. Well, I guess they could say something about you, and they could be saying something about your art, and or the perception that you have about your art. And I would say even more so about the perception you have about your art over the perception the market might have. Because I've seen plenty of artists go totally left from what the market is calling for art, and price their art at prices that I don't think are justifiable. But they still do it. So ultimately, if you feel a certain type of way, um, you can charge whatever it is that you want. Now, can you get somebody to pay it? That's a whole nother topic of conversation. Um, but you can charge whatever you want. Ultimately, you can have, house or storage, studio, whatever, full of art that you're charging X amount of dollars for that nobody is buying. So does it make a difference what you're charging? If your prices are high, if you say, "Oh, I sell my artwork for this," no, you don't sell your artwork, because you don't sell your artwork. This is what you price your artwork at, but you're not selling it. So let's talk a little bit about that, right? I know there is, I guess, like some type of fine balance we try to find when not underpricing, or undervaluing our work, because we do put a lot of time into creating most of these pieces, right? Um, and we want to make sure we're recouping off of that. And there's profitability in it as well too. We're not just trying to do just an even exchange for what we put out. And no, we need to get more. It needs to be a difference between the expenses and that includes your time, what you exerted, and what you bring back. That profitability, that equity in there. We need that, right? That has to be built in somewhere. So need to charge it reasonably to where we can have the profitability and the work is still accessible, because accessibility is huge, particularly in the black art world, right? A lot of us haven't switched our mindsets to, these being the new Jordans or flat screens or, fancy cars or whatever, and kind of valuing this stuff and figuring out ways to get this, even if we have it or we don't. So we might not be willing to pay, even if we have it, X amount of dollars, because it's not valued at that. So again, you'll be sitting on that work because the target audience for that isn't able to buy your work. So what good does it do you? Now, what I tell artists that I coach is you want to get collectors. And in order for somebody to become a collector of your work, they have to have more than one piece. I mean, if they bought some of your work, all right, cool. They bought a piece of your work. I wouldn't call them a collector of your work until they at least have two pieces. Like if you're a stamp collector and you got one stamp, that's not a collection. You need at least two stamps, if not a few more, but at least two. So we need to figure out how to get the one started, get the one in there, and then we can go on to the two. We can't get the two until we can get the one. And it's a lot easier. Check everywhere, says everywhere. I research a lot. It's a lot easier and real life experience to get people to buy again when they've already bought than it is to get people to buy when they've never bought. So get them to buy. Make it feasible, make it accessible. Yes, make it reasonable, but get them to buy. And then when they come back to buy more, it can be more. You can charge more. Especially if some time has passed, they expect it to be more. They want it to be more because that justifies them buying it in the first place. They see it increasing in value. And that's the direction they want it to go in. They want your artwork to cost more after they bought the first one. And they're going to really feel like they got a deal on the first one once they see it going up. And guess what? That might make them be like, you know what? Instead of getting one more now, let me go ahead and buy two, because the way you're going, when I come back in another year or two, it's going to be even more than what it is now. So if I buy more at this price, I get a larger return on my investment. So I would much rather have one of my artists sell a piece for 600 when they were going to sell it for 1,000 or 1,100 to get that person on the hook. And guess what? You're probably not only getting another purchase from that person at the 1,000 later, but they're going to put other people onto you as well, or put you on other buyers. Introduce you to other people. Show your work other places. If they're reputable, if they're notable, if they have the connections, they can lend your work to other collections, to other exhibitions. But it doesn't happen if you hold on to the work. So it has to be priced to where it can work out for everybody, especially if you're at the earlier points in your artistic journey. You can't come out the door charging racks on racks on racks. Not without any backing, not without no justification, not without any representation, not without any cosigns, not without already being in a notable collection, which is again a cosign. Like it's not like you're not doing it. Is you might get one here, one there. Is not going to be sustainable. And I'm not saying go cheap and play the volume game. But what I tell my artists, my benchmark is 50 pieces. You got 50 pieces out? Can we say we being collected? Can we say we building demand? We in demand? If we not in demand, how we going up in price? Because if ain't nobody want it at that price, you think they're going to want it because it's more? Yeah, there's something psychological where at some point or somebody might see something and see it at a certain price point and be like, oh, that must be good because it costs X amount of dollars. But where is that being shown as well? Like, if you go into a Kia dealership, it don't look like a Mercedes dealership. A Mercedes dealership look like the cars should cost what they cost. The service department is different. I go in the BMW service department, they offer me, they know what my favorite tea is. They got corn muffins. They got the little oranges, what you call them, Jones? I don't know. They like this big, the Valencias. It's a difference. All right, you charging those prices, but are you in blue chip? Are you upper echelon? Are you, what's happening? You getting articles written about you. You getting, art critics coming down to see you, collectors coming in from out of town. See, I done seen all this stuff happen. Other curators coming to check out your stuff to see if they can work with you. Like, if none of that is happening, you need to look at your prices. Get people talking about you. Get your work in people's places of business, especially. House is nice as well, but a lot more people can go through their place of business and inquire about the work. So you can get more referrals, more eyes on you, more follows, more emails, all of that. So make your numbers right. And I'm not saying the number is 6, the number is 5, whatever it is. Like, make it make sense. I've had artists who charging $3,000-$4,000 for their work. Excuse me. And nothing huge. And it's like, okay, where'd you get this price from? Oh, I don't know. It just felt like that, or I did a formula, and I don't know what base number they put in these formulas, but I did a formula and it came out like that. Or the worst thing is, I saw another artist charging this. That other artist is not you. You don't know what background that other artist has. You don't know how many other pieces this artist has already sold at that price to where, like, that's that artist's price. Because they were where you were and they built up, and now this is their price. You just seeing where they are now, and you jumping in now, trying to do what it is that they've done, and you might not have done the work that they've done. You don't know what fellowships they received, what residencies they've had, what awards they've had, what grants they've had, what collections they've in, who they've been represented by. You don't know any of that. But you gonna try to do what it is that they do. So then I ask, okay, it's 4,000. Have you ever sold one of these before at 4,000? No. All right. Have you ever sold anything at 2,000? No. So how was this 4,000? You never even sold nothing at 2,000. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. It makes no sense. I'm not telling you go around devaluing yourself. I'm telling you, I'm explaining it to you. This is a process, right? And pricing already is seen, arbitrary and art. Like we kind of just pulling these out of aprons, like, but at least make it make sense. This is what my pieces usually sell at. They've been in more demand, so now they're gonna sell at this price. That makes sense. Or you get chosen to, you know, paint Michelle and Barack or whatever. Yeah, my price is going up. That's justifiable. That makes sense. Just make it make sense. Is your price indicative of your self-worth? Yes, in a way. I mean, you don't want to be throwing, pieces that took you 10 hours for $100. That's especially some materials on, like, you getting paid less than $10 an hour. You do that at your regular job. Like, that's, I'm not saying do no bull like that. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying make it make sense. And let's start there. Can we start at let's just make more than what you're making at your regular job first. Let's double that. Let's work on doubling that, right? Cool. Let's work on doubling that. Or getting more than what that is, and then build from there. Your pricing can turn people off if it's too high or it's too low. Yes, I know. But if it's justifiable either way, you can make it work. But where's the story that explains that, right? Where are you telling the journey, when you've been, and how you got through this, sacrifices you made, all that to say, this is worth that. And actually, you're getting a discount because it should be charging you more. But if I don't know why, I ain't paying it. How'd you arrive at that price? So you want to, have your work be as accessible as possible until you arrive at a point in your career where you intentionally don't want to be accessible, but it's more in terms of a volume thing, with the pricing kind of on top of that versus just a pricing thing. I'm making, you know, 50 pieces a year, but I'm charging 5,000 for each piece. I might sell 2 pieces a year. That's not the way to go. I'd rather you make 30 pieces a year, 30 bangers, sell them each for 1,500, and sell at least 10 or 11 of them things. Now you're in 11 collectors' homes versus 2, and you made more money. And your following year is going to be even better because all those collectors probably going to check back in with you and see what you got. And guess what? They all paying at least $2,000 this time. And they're going to put you on the other collectors that they know. And they're going to say, oh, yeah, you need to go ahead and jump on that because their price is going up. So just be cognizant not to rub anybody the wrong way, but also not to undermine yourself or undervalue yourself on the time and energy that you've put into your craft. But it has to be some sort of balance. Like if you need help figuring out what you should be charging for your work, we can have a conversation about it. Can have you come up with some numbers. I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions to figure out what it should be, and look at some of the work. I'm not even gonna judge it based off of if I like the work or not. I'm gonna be very objective. There's things as an art dealer that I know I can sell, but I don't particularly like. Like I wouldn't buy it for myself as a collector myself, but I know I can sell it. Um, there's no particular style or anything I'm talking about. It's just kind of, you know who you're dealing with. You've sold other things to other people and you know what they like or whatever. And this might be in that wheelhouse and things like that. So you just kind of start to get an idea if you've been doing it for a while. I'm going on 9 years now. So doing it for a little bit of time, you know, and I'm look a little younger than I am and everything, you know, skin still tight, still shining and all that, you know what I mean? But ask somebody, get some help, ask them, a collector, what they would pay for it. That's perfect, perfect way to figure out what you should be charging for your art. Perfect way to meet collectors as well, too. Way to break the ice. You throw that hot tip in there, right? So a lot of times I've seen artists, and I found collectors like this way too. I stalk people. So I've seen artists say, oh, you know, this got sold, or a gallery say, oh, this got sold, and then they tag the collector in the joint. Woo! Love when that happened. Bam, I'm on them. On the collector. You're going to be my friend, right? So you can meet the collector. Hey, you know, I noticed, slide the DM or something. I noticed you bought that piece over there. Beautiful choice. Congratulations on the piece. You know, I'm you know, newer to this art thing and trying to figure out my pricing, or, you know, I'm moving up a level in this art thing and trying to configure what's reasonable and accessible. Can you tell me approximately, as a collector, how much would you feel comfortable paying for this piece? Bam. You can ask 3 or 4 collectors that, and guess what? You just made them check out your artwork. And they feel valued. They feel important. Like, oh, they asked me my opinion. Okay, well, this is what I would do. And more than likely, they're going to respond and give you an answer. And they might buy something, right? Or start following you, or want to come do a studio visit or something. You could finagle that and swing that to a lot of different things. But it opens up the door, gives you opportunity. So actually having that pricing, if you use my creative coaching, can help you make new connections and make some new sales. Make sure you go to imdmuse.com, join the Pay the Artist Club. It's D Muse, Pay the Artist. Peace.